Alright, so here's my door panel. This is the front half of them on the doors, and today I'm going to work on the other half. Now, I've been thinking about doing kind of like a panel that goes up or something and actually deleting the pocket. After looking at it this morning, I kind of think I'm actually going to keep it as a pocket. Not really for functionality, but more for looks. I just did a round over on the top round bottom edge, obviously not the straight edge. Which will be like the seam, so not on that edge, but I'm happy with that. I like the way that looks. So I've now got these screwed on. So I've just got two countersunk screws, screwed them into a part that actually doesn't show through on the pocket side, and I've put a little bit of hot glue at each end once I got it to the right level so that it matched up with this one. This one's just sitting up a little, but they sit flat now on both of them, and the hot glue just sits in there and holds it together just for now. Obviously once I fill it, that'll be the actual strength. So I filled the whole top section and then the bottom section just with what I had left, you know, at the end. And then obviously now I'll take out that glue because it's done its job. It's now obviously firm and everything. That's all set now. I've just rough sanded it over. Now I'll go over it and fill the rest of it, but it now has its strength. That's the other one. Again, the bottom I just kind of shoved it in there. The top's pretty much to the point where it's nearly finished. Looking pretty good. So here's these two, as you can see, and that's all body filled and sanded. Now the only thing I haven't filled in yet is the screw holes, but I'll just do that when I'm filling on this top panel. But other than that, they're looking nice. Got the gap in the join line, how thick I wanted it to be. So enough for obviously 2 layers of vinyl to fit in, and yeah, and obviously it all contours because I built it on the original stuff. And then now from a top view, we've got the pocket still, but it's a lot sturdier looking. Before it was just flimsy plastic. Now if I pick it up, take it off, the whole pocket is thick there, thick all the way through, and then even the rear, so it all kind of looks like the same thickness now instead of thick plastic. And then what you can see how thick the plastic is in there was really thin before, so it just made it all look a lot beefier and a lot stronger. So it is a lot stronger as well. Right, so what I've got here for the panels today is I've got new light. So this is the original kind of courtesy door light. As you can see, it's pretty cheap, nasty, just real basic plastic, and I just got these nice little LED Nava ones instead for the new build. So a little bit nice, streamlined, and the thickness of them is about 6mm. So for that reason, when I do this panel on top, I'll cut it out, and these will literally just sink. They'll actually be mounting to this panel, and these will just sit in and sit flush on the Suede panel. Alright, now they're the two insert pieces that'll be mounted on the doors, somehow like that, pretty much just sitting in line. Alright, so I just simply traced out where these guys are going to sit, which is just there. So now I'm just going to go cut that out. Now what I've done here is wrap the tape around, as I said. What I ended up doing is actually wrapping it 8 times, and it gained a decent amount of thickness. I would say that's between 2 and 3mm. So that'll be enough for vinyl trim, and the Suede is pretty much thin as nothing, so it'll be a nice press fit. Now what I'll do is obviously put this on here now, mount it. As I said, I will body fill around. I will then jiggle it out when it's finished, and what I'll do is I'll trim these in vinyl first, and you know, if I realise that this is a tad too tight, I can always sand the panel down a tad. So there's the 2 panels, insert piece mounted, tapes on. So all I'm going to have to do is just a little edge all the way around body filler, and then as I said, when the body filler gets nearly set, that kind of rubbery stage, I'll take these 2 screws out and then slowly wiggle it out. So that popped out perfectly, as you can see the edge. Now it's still like almost set. It's like a hot rubber right now. It's actually hot, and but there we go. We pulled it out, and we got a perfect little mold for what I wanted. So all I got to do now is just lightly sand the edges, because I've got a pretty good shape on these already. Just using an iTunes card is what I was using, and so now I'm just going to take the tape off that one, and then that's that. But that gave me a perfect little outline, and yeah, definitely happy with that. Alright, let's go for the second one. So what I've done is I've peeled all the tape back like that, fold it back over, and it almost comes apart from the wood, and then it also comes apart on the other side as well. Take the 2 screws out. What I'm going to do is put this screw back in, but only a little bit. Just just enough that I can actually use it as a handle. And now she's lifted out, maybe like that. And we have another perfect body filled mould. So we've got a nice 6mm lip all the way around, and all I just do is now I've lightly sand it with a hand sander. So that's my mould out with the tape. I just got the router out, and sorry, not the router, the Dremel out, and took out those notches in there just so there's room for the lights to sink into. And just used the Dremel has like a little mini router bit though that goes onto it, and I just used a little straight cutter and just cut them out. So and then just give them a quick sand. So these are complete. These are ready for trim. Now this is the first one trimmed, so as you can see that piece fits in there snug. I'm probably going to have to sand it down a tad just to fit the suede in there. Probably should have went a little bit thicker. Other than that though, the actual vinyl piece though has come out nice and all trimmed, and yeah, and then I've just done the seam into the back there, but you got to remember when it's against the door you won't be able to see into that seam, so anything I've got to do is clean up the excess overspray there, and that's door side number 1 finished. I've still got to trim those as well, so I'm in for a big day of trimming. Alright, that's my first trimmed set, so one of them and one of them. So that came out actually really well and was not as hard as I thought it would be to trim. So these were actually more work than those were, so that was great. So that's that one done. So literally just going to do the last one of them. These aren't that hard, they're not easy, but they're not that hard to trim. Alright guys, so a bit over 2 hours worth of trimming later, and we have both pods and both of the long pieces all trimmed, looking neat and sexy. Alright, the final panel. I've rounded them down a little bit smaller, like literally 2mm, but it was enough now, and we're just going to glue the suede on like that. Super easy, trim it round, and we'll be done. There we have the 2 panels with their inserts sitting in there. They're just pressure fit right now, they're just pushed in there. Not that they'll fall out, they're in there tight, but I probably will attach them, either glue them or screw them from the back, and then we've just got our hole, as you can see, cut out ready for the LEDs. So I've got everything here pre-paint, so I've just masked up over the bit of suede that was on that layer. Other than that though, these are all waxed and greased and cleaned and ready to be painted. So as I said, they're going to be painted grey, but just a slightly different grey that matches my car more. So this is how they're looking now. This is 3 good coats, actually 4 coats, but I did 1 light tack coat, and then I did 3 good coats of the grey. And as you can see now, they're much more flatter looking, and it adds to that tad of brown to the grey instead of the blue that they were. And this is the first coat of clear. I've done 1 coat of a satin clear, because the satin clear kind of matches up with the old door. Now one more thing to do before I put these doors together. These are the new lights, which as you can see they just have literally bare wire on them. There's no plug or anything. So what I'm going to do is get the original light, cut it off here, and then just solder that on to these lights here. In which case then I'll be able to actually just plug the new lights in through the factory plugs, which will be a lot easier and keeping it kind of original. And I have constructed these 2 panels. So these are together now, lights in, etc. Ready to go on the doors. The other 2 are still over there on the rack, but I'm going to start bolting them all onto the panels. Now because I used the factory panels, the actual threads, so the actual mounts, those bits sticking down just there, are still intact, so I can still just literally screw these on as they were originally. So there they are on the doors. And they look exactly how I wanted them to. Nice and streamlined. They're actually the same width. They stick out just as far as the actual armrest does, so they don't stick out any further. The pocket now is still there, but strong. It's a bit nice, big sturdy pocket. And I've got my suede, my lights and everything. And we have the doors together with the woofers in. So LED there, and obviously we've got our woofer in the door right there. Now what I've done is I've taken the grill off. I've got the physical cast grill on it, but not the actual grill. It looks a lot better, definitely. So I've decided to do that all the way around. That's exactly how I wanted them to come out and look. Tweeters up there, and that is all finished. Now I will be still making a panel for all the doors that will take away this and turn this into a black suede. That's still happening. But I just couldn't drive around any longer. It literally has been a month without any front end. So these are put back together for now. At some point I will do that. I might not even have to take the doors off to do those panels. This is really the only music I have, some old DJ Slow and Throw stuff that's probably not going to get copyrighted. But this is it for the full volume. I listen to it. Subs are turned off. Slow and Throw. Turn it down there. So yeah, as I said, I can't really play real music, but you get the idea. There's a decent amount of mid bass coming out of the vocals, and it's nice and clear. It obviously keeps up with the subs, at least the subs that I have right now, which is two Sundown SA12s. And yeah, so anyway guys, that is the end of the door build. Finally over and looking good. As I said, I still got to put the suede in the top bits, but the actual pods and everything is all built and finished. So stay tuned for the next videos. The next build is I'm building a new sub box for this car. So stay tuned, and we're going to be running something different finally.